Event with the Canadian national anthem and the Lebanese national anthem, followed by a moment of silence and al-Fatiha recital for the soul of our late Prime Minister of Lebanon, martyr Rafiq al-Hariri, martyrs of the Arab Spring, and all martyrs that fell in the fight for freedom, dignity, and democracy of their nations.
سيداتي وسادتي، مساء الخير. نبدأ هذا الاحتفال بالنشيد الوطني الكندي والنشيد الوطني اللبناني، والوقوف دقيقة صمت وتلاوة الفاتحة على روح شهيدنا الكبير وأرواح شهدائنا وجميع الشهداء الذين سقطوا في الدفاع عن الحرية والديمقراطية وكرامة شعوبهم. الرجاء الوقوف.
Parliament, Ed Holder and Susan Troupé, respectful Mdoucha Mayor, Mr. Ahmed Zabian, and the President of Union of Municipalities of the Castle of Independence, honorable councillors of the City of London, honorable dignitaries, respectful religious organization representatives, honored representatives of various associations, clubs, and councils of the City of London, cherished guests from out of London, from St. Thomas, Kitchener, Waterloo, and Toronto, ladies and gentlemen, a heartfelt welcome. It is an honor and pleasure to have you all join us today to celebrate the presence of Sheikh Ahmed Al-Hariri, a dear person from Lebanon among us representing another dear person, indeed, the Prime Minister Saad Al-Hariri. This occasion is also to remember a great individual who devoted his life and death to the best welfare of the people of his country and the neighboring countries, the late Prime Minister of Lebanon, Martyr Rafiq Al-Hariri.
سماحة الأمة الكرام، حضرة رئيس البلدية جو فونتانا المحترم، سعادة النواب إد هولدر وسوزان تروبي المحترمين، رئيس بلدية مدوخة ورئيس اتحاد بلديات قلعة الاستقلال الأستاذ أحمد دبيان المحترم، أعضاء بلدية لندن الكرام، كبار الشخصيات الكرام، ممثلي الهيئات الدينية والمحترمين، ممثلي مختلف الجمعيات والنوادي والمجالس في مدينة لندن، وضيوفنا الأعزاء من خارج مدينة لندن، سيداتي وسادتي، تحياتنا القلبية. إنه لشرفنا ويسعدنا أن يكون الجميع حاضرين اليوم للاحتفال بوجود الشيخ أحمد الحريري، شخصاً عزيزاً علينا من لبنان، جاء ممثلاً شخصاً عزيزاً على قلوبنا جميعاً، ألا وهو دولة الرئيس سعد الدين رفيق الحريري. كما أن هذه المناسبة أيضاً لتذكر الشهيد الكبير رفيق الحريري، ذلك الرجل العظيم الذي كرس حياته واستشهاده في سبيل رفاهية بلده وشعبه كما شعوب الدول المجاورة أيضاً.
We start our event with a speech from the representative from the Syrian Canadian Council and opposition. Please welcome Mr. Zafar Kamal.
ونبدأ الآن مع الكلمة التي يلقيها ممثل المجلس الكندي السوري الأستاذ طاهر كمال المحترم، فليتفضل مشكورا.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. سعادة الأمين العام لتيار المستقبل الشيخ أحمد الحريري حفظه الله، الأخوة والأخوات ممثلي تيار المستقبل، الضيوف الكرام، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. مرحبا بكم يا أحبابنا الذين قدموا من أرض لبنان الحبيب، حاملين هموم أهلنا في لبنان وأهلكم في أرض سوريا، أرض الشام المباركة التي تئن اليوم تحت ظلم عصابة مجرمة آلت على نفسها ألا تترك مثيلا لها في تاريخ البشرية يفوقها إجراما وتوحشا وخسة. هذه العصابة التي أمعنت في قتل وتشريد الشعب السوري وتدمير سوريا وتحويلها إلى ركام ليعبث فيها العملاء والخونة، لم يسلم من أذاها أهلنا في لبنان، وتبقى صورة الشهيد البطل الرئيس رفيق الحريري رحمه الله حاضرة في القلوب والأذهان، شاهدة على أن هذه العصابة استهدفته لأنها تعلم ما له من مكانة ودور في قلوب السوريين قبل اللبنانيين. ولكن هيهات هيهات، فإن أهلنا في سوريا ولبنان عرفوا طريق العزة، طريق الكرامة، طريق الحرية، ففي القتلى لأجيال حياة، وفي الأسرى فدا لهم وعتق، وللحرية الحمراء باب بكل يد مدرجة يدق. وها نحن اليوم نرى هذين الشعبين يرسمان أجمل صورة وأسمى تلاحم على طريق الكفاح لنيل الحرية وإسقاط هذه العصابة المجرمة واجتثاثها من جذورها. نعم، إن رعاية أهلنا في لبنان وعلى رأسهم إخوتنا في تيار المستقبل للثورة السورية واللاجئين السوريين تؤكد على أننا شعب واحد وجسد واحد، مصيرنا واحد، قررناه بدمائنا التي تسيل يوما بعد يوم وتروي أرض الشام المباركة. ولا ضير، فما النصر إلا صبر ساعة، والذي سنراه قريبا بإذن الله. ونشكر لكم زيارتكم هذه، ونشكر الأخوة لدعوتنا للحضور والمشاركة في هذه المناسبة العزيزة على قلوبنا، ونسأل الله لنا ولكم ولهم التوفيق. حللتم أهلا ونزلتم سهلا. إخوانكم في المجلس السوري الكندي، والسلام عليكم.
And now with the speech of the Honourable Member of Parliament from London North Centre, please welcome Mrs. Susan Troupé.
والآن مع الكلمة التي تلقيها النائب في البرلمان الكندي عن لندن نورث سنتر سوزان تروبي الموكلة.
This is in English and that's in Arabic.
Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure for me to join you to celebrate freedom, peace, and democracy. This is for the taller people. In fact, it's such a pleasure that I think I was with many of you this afternoon at another event, and it's great being here with everyone. And I'm going to apologize in advance because I may not be able to be here for the entire event tonight. As you notice, there's other events going on in this hotel, and I was just downstairs at the one down there, and I have to go up to the boardroom on this floor after this. So I have a board meeting there, so that was previously planned. So it's a busy night tonight. So as the Member of Parliament for London North Centre and Parliamentary Secretary for Status of Women, I'd like to welcome future Movement Secretary General Ahmed Hariri, who I had the pleasure of meeting this afternoon, and it was a pleasure talking to you. Welcome to Canada, and I know I welcomed you earlier, but also welcome to London, one of the greatest cities in Canada. February 14th, 2005 is a day that will live forever in infamy. 22 Lebanese, including former Prime Minister Rafik Hariri, were tragically murdered. Rafik Hariri was a man of courage, a statesman, a man committed to an inclusive, modern Lebanon. Prime Minister Hariri's love for his country began well before he entered the political realm. In 1982, Prime Minister Hariri donated $12 million to Lebanese victims of the 1978 South Lebanon conflict. Not only that, using his company's money, he helped clean up Beirut's streets. Many would go on to say that helping to rebuild his country was his top priority, highlighting his Horizon 2000 plan, which poured the foundation for rejuvenation in Lebanon. A strong economy would bring Lebanon together. His Horizon 2000 plan focused on economic growth and trade and would focus heavily on Solidaire, a privately owned construction company that was established to reconstruct post-war Lebanon. The privatization of major industries was another component. Numerous contracts were awarded in important industries such as energy, telecommunications, electricity, airports, and roads. The most significant aspect of Horizon 2000 was economic stimulus via foreign direct investment. Specifically, Hariri supported foreign firms and individuals taking an interest in Lebanon's developmental potential. Hariri simplified tax code and provided tax breaks to foreign investors. Friends, an economic plan that brings society together to lay the foundation for revitalization and rejuvenation is exactly what democracy is all about. Our government has and will continue to welcome and embrace people of all backgrounds, race, and religions. We are working together to protect legitimate marriages. Regulations have been proposed for a 2-year conditional permanent residence for spouses and partners in newer relationships. The sponsored spouse or partner would have to live together with their sponsor in a legitimate relationship for 2 years following receipt of their permanent resident status in Canada, or their status would be revoked. Our government is working hard to reform the refugee system. We've also introduced a refugee appeal division for all claimants. We've taken action on foreign credential recognition and created a program for free pre-arrival orientation for economic immigrants. Our city welcomes new Canadians with open arms, and I'm proud that so many multicultural organizations such as the Future Movement have been active in our great city of London. Once again, I congratulate the Future Movement for moving forward the issue of freedom and democracy. I certainly look forward to an exciting future ahead with the Lebanese diaspora in Canada and, more importantly, in London, Ontario. Thank you very much.
A longtime friend of Future Movement, we now entertain you with the speech of the Honourable Member of Parliament for London West. Please welcome Mr. Ed Holder.
والآن مع الكلمة التي يلقيها النائب في البرلمان الكندي عن لندن ويست إد هولدر الموقر.
Assalamu alaikum. Because there are 2 microphones, I go to this one for the English part now. Well, good evening, all of you. I first want to thank the Future Movement Party of London for inviting me back to this very, very special event. And a special welcome to our guests from the Future Movement Party. And if you would allow me, I know many of you have met some or all, but for me it is the first time. And of course, the General Secretary of the party, Mr. Ahmed Khayri, and to the Coordinator General of the Expatriates sector, I've met Ms. Mirna Nemne, the member of the Executive Bureau and Editor-in-Chief of Al-Mustaqbal newspaper, Mr. George Bakassini, the Coordinator General of the Elections sector, Mr. Khaled Shihab, the Consultant Advisor, Mr. Bahail Din Shahadi, the Consultant Advisor, Dr. Ahmed Rabah, the Future Movement Expatriate Sector Office Manager and Canada Coordinator, Ms. Nadine Saad, and the Office Manager of the Assistant General Secretary for Organizational Affairs, Ms. Randa Kaki. To all of you, I say marhaba, and I say ahlan wa sahlan. You know, as we honor our special guests who have come here to Canada, and we also talk about the importance of the Future Movement Party in Lebanon and the Middle East, today we honor the memory of a great man. I have spoken of this man several times in front of many of you before. A man who was successful in business, in politics, and improving and inspiring his community and the world. A man who continues to be deeply missed by not just the Lebanese community, but by millions and millions around the world. All of you here today know his story well. Rafiq al-Hariri was not born into a life of wealth or privilege. Instead, he came from humble beginnings. But with hard work and determination, what we ask anyone who comes to this country, and we have all come to this country from somewhere, whether it was this generation, our parents' generation, or generations before, ladies and gentlemen, as you know, we are all immigrants to this country, and we must never forget that. And Rafiq al-Hariri did not forget this. God rest his soul. He became a truly accomplished businessman and became one of the wealthiest people in the world. You know, Mr. Hariri, you know, when I think of you and I think of a presentation that you made back in the fall to the European Parliament, I was quite struck by a few things that you said. I think that you have, as your uncle and as Rafik al-Hariri, understood the importance of Lebanon's place in the world. And please allow me to quote a couple of things. And this is what, if I may use some of your words, but I'll say them in English just for you, that you said to a speech at the European Parliament back in September of 2012. You said that Lebanon, in 2005, lost one of the great figures that called for unity and partnership for the sake of promoting a unified national interest and achieving a strong civil state. Rafik al-Hariri's assassination created a new political experience in our modern political system. After a month from this terrorist act, hundreds of thousands of people were mobilized and marched in Martyrs Square in Central Beirut. And what you called this, which I find interesting, the spring arrived in Lebanon at that time, almost 5 years before the emergence of the Arab Spring in other Arab nations. And I think, sir, you are quite correct. You know, it's rather interesting because you also talk of what will happen to Lebanon in 2013. And I think we all understand the importance of the state of Lebanon as it relates to the Middle East and to the world. You talked about the fact that a car bomb killed General Wissam al-Hassan back in October 19th, after you made your speech to the European Parliament. And you know, there's a singer from the United States called Bob Dylan, and he wrote a song called Blowing in the Wind. And I'm going to only repeat one line from this because I think it is important to be said. One of these lines said, "And how many deaths will it take till we know that too many people have died?" And I think that's an important thing that we must all remember. Because when we think of Rafik al-Hariri, God rest his soul, and we think of this general, we think of too many lives lost in Lebanon, lost in the Middle East, lost when people are trying to support countries around the world for a democratic state. We have to say, one more death is one too many. Politically, during the years as Prime Minister, Rafik al-Hariri was a strong and effective leader, and you know why. Because he was committed to a free, democratic, pluralistic, and modern Lebanon. He responded to repeated political challenges by demonstrating leadership and innovative policies in his dealings with domestic issues and in foreign representation and diplomacy. I would suggest to you he was one of the great diplomats of his time and one of the great diplomats in history. And then, as you know, in a series of horrifying events in 2005, he was gone. That was just 8 short years ago. Let me be perfectly clear. His assassination was a cowardly act of terror. And while Rafik al-Hariri is no longer with us, his legacy lives on. We know, and Susan spoke to the issue of his generosity and his kindness. And he educated thousands and thousands of people, not just in Lebanon, but he took Lebanese people and educated them around the world because he felt that a better, stronger, educated Lebanese community was greater for the strength of Lebanon and greater for the world. And how can we not agree with that? That's absolutely true. There are people here in London who have been beneficiaries of that education system. And we need to acknowledge the tremendous efforts that he gave to us. You know, it's interesting too. I was going to give you a quote, but I'm going to change and I'm going to mention something to you if you'd allow me. I want to talk for just a brief moment about the Future Movement Party of London. I want to say why this matters, because when you follow and you look at the objectives of what the London party does, the Future Movement Party that keeps alive the ideals and the goals of Rafik al-Hariri, it says, and I took this right from the website, to promote the ideals and philosophy of good Canadian citizenship among the people of Lebanon who have settled in Canada. That's the very first thing it says. And then it says to promote the positive Arab identity, culture, and contributions to society in a manner that empowers Arab Canadians to retain and enhance their culture. And we know in Canada we can do that, but in so doing advances the positive image of Arabs to all Canadians. To provide for an exchange of understanding of cultures between the people of Canada and the people of Lebanon. And there are many others as well, but the last thing I will reference about 8 points down, it says to educate the Canadian public, and frankly, I would suggest to you respectfully, the Canadian public does need to be educated in terms of the understanding about the goals and aspirations of the Lebanese community and the tremendous goodwill and generosity of the Lebanese people and those that live here in London, Ontario. I will tell you this, the Lebanese community in the City of London make me so proud, and I want to say thank you for your commitment to Canada. I think too often the average Canadian only hears about Lebanon and the occasional or sad, tragic news stories relating to war and tragedy. And that is why I think cultural sharing and understanding is so important. More Canadians need to be aware of the tremendous compassion of the Lebanese people. And you know, we can always talk about food and music. You can't tell by looking at me that I like Lebanese food, but I will tell you, I will not even tell you the shawarma jokes in Ottawa anymore. I've done that too many times. But there are still more shawarmas in Ottawa than there are Tim Hortons. I don't know why. But Canada and Lebanon do have a special relationship, and one that we have an obligation as Londoners to maintain and continue on. You know, many of you in this room, and I will finish up with just a few things. Many of you in this room were here in May 2012 when the patriarch of the Maronite Rite, his beatitude, Bashara Boutros Aure, came to London. And he is one of he is a pope, and he is of, as you will know, of the Maronite Catholic Church Rite. But you know what made me proud? Was that I'm a Roman Catholic by upbringing, so I would go to the church and I could understand the proceedings of the church. But many of you who are not Roman Catholic went to support the community in their new facility on Adelaide Street, away from their Southdale Road, and I applaud all of you for your commitment to say, you know, we are Lebanese, we are Canadians, we are all in this together to make this a better Canada, and do that with freedom of religion. And that's what you showed by demonstrating being there. And of course, then we had more food after that, and we just had a fabulous event. But I will tell you, I commend all of you for participating in that, and I honor you for that. So thank you for doing that. And I can say something else. At that time, I made reference to the Roman Catholic Pope, who talked about Lebanon, said, you know, Lebanon isn't really a country. You know what it truly is? It is an example to the world how at that time, 18 different sects, religious sects, could come together for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. And what they would do is they came along, they worked together in peace. And he said that is the model by which the world should be defined, the way Lebanon has been. And ladies and gentlemen, we will live to see Lebanon create and contain and maintain that vision of living together in peace will be. And for that, Lebanon deserves all of our support. Now, I do not know why Imam Munir al-Qasim wanted me to go on a hunger strike for a day, but he wanted to do this when the Lebanese community and for that matter the Arabic community was fasting, and he had an idea, and his idea was, what if all Canadians, starting with Londoners, what if we all fasted for a day? And he had a slogan. He said, "Fast for a day, take hunger away." So what we did, and Susan and I participated in this, as did the mayor, as did members of City Council. I see Harold Usher here, he was part of that. I see Sandy White, who was part of that, and we all did that. But Munir al-Qasim was a little rude. He didn't tell me that you can eat before sunup. So so by the time the food came, it didn't matter what they served. It was very, very nice. But I will tell you, that to me is my vision of what the Lebanese community who have settled here in this country have done. They give back, they give back, and they give back. And that's what the example that we need to represent to other Canadians, the generosity, the spirit of the Lebanese people who have settled, and I say lucky that they settled in London, Ontario. I say God bless you for making that decision. You know, I am a member of the Canada-Lebanon Parliamentary Friendship Group. And I joined that group when I first came to Ottawa 4.5 years ago. And the whole principle is that it needs to strengthen the relationship between Canada and Lebanon. And by the way, we need to have more elected officials. I see my friend here, Khalil Ramal, and you know, this community would do well to have more people throughout all of our political structures, from federal to provincial to municipal. Hopefully my political party, that would be kind of nice. But by the way, do you know why that would be kind of nice? Because I know there are some of you out there that wonder about the Conservative Party, and this is not a political statement today, but I would say when we want to make change, we make change from within. So if you think that we as a party need some education, some support, the challenge I give to all of you in this room, help us help each other. This is about Londoners taking care of Londoners, which is what I appreciate so much. You know, this reminds me that both Canada and London need to be strengthened by Lebanese Canadians such as yourself. And I do not like to put hyphens between people, but I want to make that distinction about the importance of the Lebanese community. You know, I'm honored to count many of you in this room as my very good personal friends. And so as I speak to you tonight, I say to you it is a genuine privilege, as a proud Canadian, as a proud friend of Lebanon, to remember and honor the memory of Rafiq al-Hariri, but it is you who truly honor his memory by uniting to strengthen democracy, freedom, and tolerance, both in Lebanon and here in Canada. Friends, I say thank you for being a part of tonight. Sir, thank you for being very much a part of our celebrations. I say all of you, shukran.
A devoted leader and a persistent fighter for the sake of his city. So much good things can describe him, but his deeds and actions and perseverance describe him the best. Please all join us in welcoming the Mayor of London, the Honourable Joseph Fontana.
قائد متمرس متفاني لعمله مدافع شرس عن مصلحة مدينته يمكن وصفه بالكثير الكثير ولكن أفعاله وأعماله ومثابرته خير ما تتحدث عنه الرجاء الجميع الترحيب بعمدة مدينة لندن جو فونتانا المحترم.
Assalamu alaikum. Ana Katir Bahu Bakam. Halan Sheikh Ahmed. It's even on blue paper. First thing, I'll be shorter than Ed Holder in my speech. In fact, he read my speech.
Take your time, Joe. Take your time.
Well, it is indeed an honor for me as the Mayor of London, with my colleagues, Councillor Harold Usher and Councillor White and all of our council, to welcome Ahmed here to our London, Canada. In fact, I had the honor this morning and this afternoon to greet him and to be friends with him. And as I said, and I think it's been translated, I already love you an awful lot, my brother. Thank you. We shared a lot together. And in fact, I've made him an honorary citizen of the City of London, and he now graces his suit with the City of London, our city symbol, a tree. And a tree is about growth. It's about life. It's about growing together. And I think Lebanon and Canada, but more importantly, London, Ontario, and Lebanon will grow together as brothers and sisters of people who respect one another, believe in peace, love, and building lives together. I can tell you, Ahmed, I had the honor, the great honor, of meeting President Hariri with my friends Sam Soufan and others when we went to Detroit with him. And I know he was also in Ottawa, and he was also in Montreal. I have also had the great pleasure and honor of going to Lebanon twice. Even though if you stay in London, you would think you were in Lebanon with the incredible people that we have here. But you know what I noticed in his first speech, and looking into the eyes of Rafiq, here was a man of vision. A man who understood and knew the value of his own people and his own country. And not only what he could do for Lebanon, but what he could do for the Middle East and for the world. And his spirit and his love for Lebanon and the Middle East and the world lives with Saad and with Ahmed. They live his life. They live his spirit. You should know that in our city, Ahmed, we are so privileged to have so many incredible Lebanese people. And throughout the world, there are, as you've said to me this morning, over 16 million people from Lebanon that have gone to build the countries and lives of the world, all over the world, including in this city. And isn't that what Rafiq spoke about? That small little drop of hope and spirit and peace has in fact gone throughout the world. And so his dream, his spirit, is alive not only in London, Ontario, but Canada, but throughout the world, through the men and women and children and grandchildren that he is growing all over the world in the name of Lebanon. But you know, his tragedy, yes. His assassination, yes. But sometimes people make such an impression on the world that their memory and their spirit and their vision lives on forever. An incredible sacrifice. And I remember very much shedding the tears with the Lebanese people when in fact their leader, their spirit, their heart was taken away from them. But I was also celebrating with the Lebanese community as they celebrate the new coming of Lebanon. And so while we want to spend some time paying honor to an incredible leader, what's more important, and I'm sure he would be saying that, and you would say that today, what's more important for Lebanon and what's more important for Canada and Lebanon is that we look to the future, a future of hope, a future of peace, a future of working together. That was his hope and that was his spirit. And I know that today, and it will not be the first and last time you ever come to London or Canada. I think you've told me, Ahmed, he already loves this city. Better than Toronto, yay. Better than Montreal, yay. Better than Ottawa, yay. Because we have the very, very people who make this city very, very special. I am so proud to be the mayor of a city that in fact, and over my 30 years in politics as a member of parliament and as a minister, of being able to say to our Lebanese community here, each and every day, you work hard. You never give up. That you like to build lives. You like to make people feel that they're part of your family. And I have always felt like I'm part of your family, just like you're part of my family, my Italian family, and also my Canadian family. And I know the Lebanese and the Italians share an awful lot of things together, but I won't get into what Ahmed and I spoke about this morning, this afternoon. It's amazing. It's amazing how the Lebanese men and the Italian men think alike. I'll just leave it at that. I'll just leave it at that. Let me end with this. We are honored by your presence. We are honored here for the Future Movement to be born in London, Ontario. We know that the Future Movement and all of those who in fact are involved, it is a movement. It is a movement. And the movement reflects what the President Rafiq Hariri started in his early days. Let's not stop that movement. Let's work together as a community. I've offered up the opportunity of the City of London partnering with communities in Lebanon so that we can share our experience, linking people to people, businesses to business, government to government, institutions to institutions, so we can show the world that in fact Canada and Lebanon, but more importantly London, Ontario and Lebanon can help build those bridges of peace, of security, of hope and dreams for all of us. Shukran. Thank you.
Our respectful guests from Lebanon carry with them a dear and precious story of future to share with our community here in London, Ontario. A cherished guest from a cherished family who at a very young age took over the great responsibility of operating a huge organization built on the beliefs of millions of faithful Lebanese people around the world for the building of a modern, strong, and free Lebanon. Please help us warmly welcome the Future Movement Secretary General, Mr. Ahmed Al-Hariri.
ضيوفنا الكرام القادمين من لبنان يحملون معهم قصة مستقبل ليشاركوها مع جاليتنا هنا في لندن. ضيف كريم، ابن عائلة كريمة، حمل باكرا وبجدارة باهرة قل نظيرها، عبء مسؤولية كبرى في إدارة مؤسسة ضخمة هي تيار المستقبل. نطلب من الجميع أن نرحب ترحيبا حارا بالأمين العام لتيار المستقبل الشيخ أحمد الحريري المحترم.
Honorable representatives of the Canadian government, MP Ed Holder, MP Susan Truby, Mayor Joe Fontana, Councillor Harold Asher, Councillor Sandy White. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. It is such a great pleasure and honor to be among you tonight in the city of London. I would like to take the opportunity to thank the Canadian government for hosting the Lebanese community that immigrated to Canada in search for a safe life and a secure environment for their children. I admire the Lebanese community for being an honoring stereotype and representing their country, Lebanon. You did a great job indeed. I congratulate each and every Lebanese for their ethical performance in abiding the Canadian law and respecting the regulations imposed by the Canadian government in a way that reflects the true image of Lebanon, the true image of Rafiq al-Hariri. Dear brothers and sisters, your role is not seasonal. Your role is not electoral. You are our promising future. You are the young blood that will build Lebanon. I stand here before you tonight to tell you that Lebanon needs you. Do not forget your country. Do not forget your roots. Martyr Rafiq Hariri was like you, an immigrant. He spent years away of Lebanon, struggling to provide his family. But he came back to Lebanon to help his bigger family. He came back to develop his country, and he succeeded. Beirut downtown is an eyewitness, and his footprints are engraved in every corner. The Future Movement is proud of each Lebanese who immigrated to Canada to establish a family and contribute to the welfare of Canada and serve this country. We in Future Movement cherish your courage and determination, your goodwill and morals, and certainly we value your sacrifice and accomplishments. We in Future Movements believe in your potentials. We believe that you have the power to change, to make a difference in shaping a prosperous future as Rafiq Hariri wanted to be. As goes the saying, one hand cannot clap. Together, through our unbreakable unity and unique bond, we will make the dream of Rafiq Hariri come true. From here, from London, Ontario, I invite you to put your hands in ours to achieve the sovereignty, freedom, and independence of Lebanon. Long live the Future Movement, long live Lebanon. كان لازم اروح هونيك.
There's one French in the middle too. اللي هو الفرنسي وين؟
فرنسي بالنص. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أيها الأحباء، يطيب اللقاء بكم على أرض الوطن وفي كل أرجاء العالم. الشمس تشرق من السماء، أما أنتم فتشرقون من الأرض التي أنجبتكم ومن كل بقاع الأرض. لكم من الرئيس سعد الحريري ألف قبلة وقبلة. لم أشعر يوما بما شعرت به اليوم معكم وبينكم. أشعر بفرحين: فرح اللقاء وفرح الوفاء. وفاؤكم للرئيس الشهيد رفيق الحريري وللبنان. وفاؤكم لأحلى وأبهى ثورة في تاريخ لبنان، ثورة الأرز التي حملتموها في صدوركم وقلوبكم في كل أصقاع الدنيا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا بشعار سعد الحريري لبنان أولاً، لكم من بحر بيروت وسهول البقاعين الغربي والأوسط وبساتين صيدا وخزانات الوفاء في عكار وطرابلس، ألف سلام وسلام. 14 آذار أنجبت مليونية في ساحة الشهداء، ومليونية زرعتموها في كل عواصم الدنيا، في اونتاريو وتورونتو ومونريال وباريس وأستراليا والولايات المتحدة، وهنا في لندن اونتاريو، حيث وجد رجل أو امرأة من أصل لبناني. فشكرا لكم، شكرا لكم يا حاملي ثورة الأرض ويا حاملي ثورة الأرض. يا سفراء لبنان إلى العالم، وقد مثلتموه خير تمثيل. يا عشاق السيادة والاستقلال، نعدكم أن صرنا قاب قوسين أو أدنى من فجر الحرية. صرنا على حافة الربيع بعد أن صار أعداء لبنان على حافة الهاوية والسقوط. نعم أيها الأحباء، أنظمة الطغاة وقعت من أرصفة التاريخ. هولاك دمشق صار يعد ساعات بقائه. رزنامة الحرية قلبت صفحتها وانتهت مدة الطغيان، ليبزغ فجر الحرية، فجر حرية الشعوب. شعب سوريا البطل الذي سطر ملاحم، شعب سوريا البطل الذي سطر ملاحم من البطولة في وجه بشار الجزار الذي لم يرحمه شعبه والتاريخ، كما لم يرحمه بكاء الثكالى وأمهات الشهداء الأبرار. نعم، فعلها الشعب السوري أيها الأحباء، وقرر إسقاط أبناء الأفاعي إلى غير رجعة. إسقاط الطاغية، إسقاط الطاغية الذي دمر سوريا على رؤوس أبنائها، كما دمر لبنان على رؤوس أبنائه، وفي مقدمهم شهيد لبنان الغالي الرئيس رفيق الحريري. وكما استلهم الشعب السوري ربيع لبنان لينقض على وحش القرداحة، سنستلهم نحن وإياكم من جديد ربيع سوريا، لنطوي معا صفحة القمصان السود وحكومة القمصان السود ووكيل القمصان السود. وكيل النائب النفس عن عزة وكرامة لبنان، وكيل تدمير الاقتصاد اللبناني وسياحة لبنان، وكيل تغيير وجه لبنان. وستعود ست الدنيا بيروت سيدة العواصم ومربض خيل اقتصادي ومربض خيل الأحرار، وسيعود البقاع سهلا للخير والشمال جارا لفضاء اقتصادي حر، والجبل مثالا للعيش المشترك، والجنوب فائض قوة للبنان لا منصة رسائل للآخرين. سيعود لبنان كما أراده الرئيس رفيق الحريري منارة للشرق، سيعود واحة أمان لأهله وللسياح لا مقرا للخطف أو ملاذا للخاطفين. سيعود لبنان بإذن الله وطن التعدد والتنوع والاعتدال، تحكمه قوانين صنعت في لبنان لا قوانين فرنسية تفصل على قياس الشبيحة أو البسيج. أيها الأحباء، لم يأتي أي منكم إلى هنا أو إلى أي بقعة في العالم من أجل نزهة. أتيتم إلى هنا بحثا عن عمل أو أمان فقدتموه في الوطن الأم، إما بسبب الحرب الأهلية المشؤومة، وإما بسبب الوصاية السورية التي هيمنت على لبنان بطوله وعرضه في أيام حكومات الرئيس رفيق الحريري، الذي أعاد إعمار لبنان وسعى لإعادة إعمار الدولة فقتلوه. وقد تمادت هذه الهيمنة مع حكومات الرئيس فؤاد السنيورة والرئيس سعد الحريري، إلى أن انضمت إليها وصاية جديدة، وصاية الحرس الثوري وولاية الفقيه، فأعادت لبنان إلى ما قبل 14 شباط 2005، إلى زمن وصاية السلاح. أما اليوم يا إخوتي فقد غير الشعب السوري التاريخ، وغير الشعب السوري وجه التاريخ، وأضل معه أمل زوال الوصايات. نعم، إن ساعة أفول الوصايات قد اقتربت، وسيعود لبنان كما أردتموه. وعادة بنقول تعرفوها غنية لعيونكم، لعيونكم سيعود لبنان كما أردتموه. لبنان الكهرباء لا الظلام، لبنان الأدوية الشافية لا المزورة، لبنان النظيف لا الملوث بمخدراتهم ولحومهم الفاسدة، لبنان الشفافية لا الصفقات المشبوهة من وزارة الاتصالات إلى الطاقة وغيرها وغيرها، لبنان المستقبل، لبنان 14 آذار لا 7 أيار، لبنان 14 آذار لا 7 أيار. عشتم وإلى اللقاء في لبنان. عاش لبنان، عاشت الجالية اللبنانية في لندن اونتاريو، والسلام عليكم.
We now ask Mayor Fontana to come forward, who will present the key to the City of London to Sheikh Ahmed Al-Hariri, who will accept it on the behalf of the Prime Minister Saad Al-Hariri.
ونطلب من العمدة جو فونتانا بأن يتقدم لتسليم درعا من بلدية لندن إلى الأمين العام لتيار المستقبل الشيخ أحمد الحريري.
It's my honor and privilege to present you the Yes.
Raise it up.
And this is for the Prime Minister.
Joe, raise it up.
Yes. And made by a great Lebanese sculptor.
Coordinator of the Future Movement London,
And this is
Engineer Issam Murad, will be presenting Sheikh Ahmed Al-Hariri with a special award.
Thank you.
والآن يسلم العمدة هدية مميزة جدا عبارة عن مفتاح مدينة لندن إلى دولة الرئيس الشيخ سعد الحريري، يسلمها عبر أمين عام المستقبل الشيخ أحمد الحريري.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. هذا من المستقبل لك.
والآن منسق عام تيار مستقبل لندن المهندس عصام مراد يقدم درعا خاصة من المنسقية إلى أمين عام المستقبل الشيخ أحمد الحريري.
Thank you. Thank you. شكرا.
Mr. Murad will now present a special award from the Lebanese community to Ms. Myrna Naimim, the Coordinator General of the Expatriates Sector.
كما سيقدم المنسق العام درعا خاصة من المنسقية إلى الأنسة منسقة عام قطاع الاغتراب في تيار المستقبل.
Abdul Salam Jeha, Media Coordinator, will be presenting an award to Mr. George Bakassini, Editor-in-Chief of المستقبل newspaper.
عبد السلام جحا مسؤول الإعلام سيقدم درعا خاصة للسيد جورج باكاسيني رئيس تحرير جريدة المستقبل وعضو مجلس إدارته.
Elections Officer Jamal Didi will be presenting an award to Mr. Khalid Shahab, Coordinator General of Election Sector.
منسق الانتخابات في لندن جمال الديدي سيقدم درعا خاصا إلى السيد خالد شهاب منسق عام قطاع الانتخابات في تيار المستقبل.
شكرا.
Organizational Assistant Amer Al-Lahib will be presenting an award to Organizational Advisor Dr. Ahmed Rabah.
المساعد التنظيمي أمير اللهيب بابا سيقدم درعا خاصا إلى الدكتور أحمد رباح مسؤول تنظيمي في تيار المستقبل.
عمر خلينا نصور اطلع جالس
And now, the Secretary General will award a token of gratitude to the participants in the first North American Expatriate Conference in Montreal.
والآن الأمين العام سيكرم المشاركين في المؤتمر الاغترابي الأول لشمال أمريكا في مونتريال. عصام حتوم. محمد صبح. حسن علي.
سليم شحبر.
سليم شحبر.
شحبر. نور حسن.
نور حسن.
نور.
جمال البيدي.
السلام.
عبد السلام جحا. ذو الفكار الأهوجي. يعني ذاك الأهوج. عمير اللهيب. بابا.
Wait.
عصام مراد.
Thanks for all.
As our event concludes, we would like to sincerely thank each and every one of you for your honored presence with us today. And before we move on to tonight's buffet, we would like to leave you with a few timeless words from the Honorable Rafiq al-Hariri, in which he said, "We may have a difference of opinion, but will not allow such a difference of opinion to grow into a problem that stands in the way of reconstructing the country and regaining the democratic path."
والآن وصلنا إلى ختام حفلنا الكريم، ونود أن نشكر جميع الحاضرين الذين أمنوا علينا بشرف استقبالهم، ونتمنى لهم كل الخير والأمان وتصبحون على ألف خير.
Thank you and have a wonderful evening.
ما حدا يفل في بوفيه وعشاء برا إذا بتحبوا.
على راسي انا اللي بضحك.
في عندك تشارج.